Hello, my friends, and welcome again. This is Derek A. Smith, aka Dr. Negotiator, and welcome back to Negotiate to Win-Win, where you're going to learn everything you need to win in negotiations, especially real estate negotiations. Today, I want to talk about 10 powerful persuasion techniques for establishing rapport. As you know, rapport building is very, very important for any type of negotiation. So I'm going to tell you where to start. Anybody who loves real estate probably loves it because they realize that they can achieve their dreams with it and they can earn a great living. You know, many people and many fortunes have been built upon real estate, so why not you? In other words, these people love persuasion, which boils down to these three things. You got to build rapport. It's about establish rapport, build rapport, establish rapport. Now, you cannot really have persuasive power over people unless you have their trust. And you can't have their trust if you don't take the time to build a relationship. A solid relationship is the groundwork for persuasion. Even in internet marketing and in real estate, you have to establish rapport, even if it's only in a short period of time. Yes, you walk in and you do a real estate deal and you're in someone's house for maybe an hour. But in that hour, the first thing you need to do is look around the house, find something that you can have in common, and maybe establish some type of rapport with that person instead of just going straight into the negotiation process. We Americans have a big problem with that. If you go to Europe and other countries, you're going to have tea first, you're going to socialize first. You might not even get to the negotiating until the next session or the next day. We like to get right to the point, and that's really the worst thing we could do. So how do you create that relationship? How do you build that rapport? Well, I'm going to talk about that in coming videos. I'm going to run a series on developing persuasive power. But for today, I'm going to give you 10 ideas that you can actually start using right now, today, to build that rapport. The first one is know what you want. You have to understand what makes you tick before you ever be persuasive. You got to know what your strong points are, what your strong suits are. You have to understand what you want out of life and who you are before you can try to persuade someone else. How can you persuade someone else if you can't persuade yourself? You need to know what drives you. Is it power that you want? Is it money? Is it both? Are you the kind of person who like to make people happy? Who are you? Power persuasion starts with soul-searching questions into who you are first. Then you can start to figure out the psychology of other people. You need to make people feel like the center of the universe. Sorry about my spelling mistakes. Get your head out of your rear and start caring about other people. Yes, you want the money, you want the power, but in order to get that, you need to care about others. You care about others, and then you're going to get what you want out of life. Start treating them like royalty, and you begin to have incredible influence over their lives, and therefore you'll be able to realize incredible riches in yours. You need to compliment people constantly. You know that people love, especially Americans, we love to have our egos stroked. Sure, we know it's flattery, but there's nothing like buttering people up. Even if they know about it, even if they know you're buttering them up, they're still going to like it. Just not too much. People love to feel like the center of the universe, and they like to be told good things about themselves. So that's what you want to do. That bolsters their ego, that bolsters their self-esteem. For you, it's like investing in that person that allows you to make withdrawals when the time comes. Dan Kennedy often talks about his herd. If he needs to buy something new, if he wants to make a certain amount of money, he goes to his herd. When you use these tactics and you butter people up and you build those relationships, they become your herd. Next, remember people's names. Don't you love when someone says your name or remembers your name? I used to be very bad at this, and they taught us how to do this in counterintelligence and also in law enforcement. You can't really start to make someone feel like the center of the universe if you don't even remember their name, can you? So look for tricks to do that. And actually, I'm going to give a separate video that you might want to look for later on that's going to give you the tricks for remembering someone's name. You need to give power to other people. This includes things like freedom and purpose. Now, you as a real estate investor or as an internet marketer or what have you, you can also give the people the feeling that they have power. And therefore, they have a purpose, and that gives them freedom. Give them room to make decisions and make them see the bigger purpose. You don't want to just pound them with this is what you need to do, this is what you should do. You want to kind of make them think that they're making that decision. And when they make that decision, they're more likely to come around to what it is that you want them to do. Help them achieve their dreams, and you're giving them power. And as many people say, if you help other people achieve their dreams, guess what's going to happen? You're going to achieve your dreams as well. Be positive. Nobody likes to be around a negative person, a pessimistic person. You need to be optimistic and positive. Even if a negative situation arises, you can control and influence people if you can find ways to remain solid and upbeat even in the midst of that storm. That kind of influence attracts people. They see that you're a leader, they see that you're a calm, cool, and collected person, and then they come to trust you, and then they come to follow you. You can also help people avoid making bad decisions by guiding them towards thinking about situations and questions when they're not so emotional. You know that when people get their emotions involved, sometimes they do not make rational and good decisions. So you want to kind of control that. I talked about in another video about mirroring folks, but we have another thing we do as investigators where instead of mirroring folks, we do the opposite. So if someone is screaming, we talk softly. If someone is standing up over us, we might sit down. Then you find that they'll sit down too, or they'll lower their voice. So you can kind of make them or persuade them to do whatever you want, whether it's positively or negatively. Next, you need to understand the person. Of course, if you don't know anything about your prospect, you really don't know what to give them to influence them. I talk in other videos about knowing the person's why, but this goes a little further than just knowing the why. You need to actually truly understand what it is that the person wants, what the person is doing. And in a negotiation, maybe not so much real estate, you need to know your enemy, as they say. So you need to study up on it. So let's look at real estate for a minute. You might want to know what the comps are, what things are selling in your particular area, knowing your neighborhood, knowing what goes on in the area that you are farming. Therefore, when you go to hit this person in negotiation or persuasion, you have all the ammunition you need. And that's very, very important. I'll tell you in other videos, but when you're negotiating, one of the most important things you need to do is make sure you have information. Take the time to get to know your prospect or your client. Try to invest as much time into the relationship as you invest into getting the deal closed, and you will be much more successful. Number 8 is develop a sense of humor. Have you ever noticed that some of the most influential people like Preston Ely and some of the others that are in the real estate field, are very funny? They like people and they like to make them laugh. So you give it a try. Learn a few jokes, learn how to tell a good story, and start making people laugh. Let me tell you something. In teaching, in business, in my relationships, and everything I've done, people love a good story. So it doesn't have to necessarily be funny, even though I say have a good sense of humor. But people love to learn by stories. People love to hear stories. People like to hear about my counterintelligence and law enforcement background. It can help you build rapport, but also to help you develop trust and interest in you as a person. Number 9, you need to ask better questions. You can influence people by simply asking questions. Ask the right questions and you will be irresistible, as you will get the right answers. When I was a special agent, we were always taught to ask the right questions and then shut up and listen. Sometimes we feel that in a negotiation or anything else, we talk. Sometimes you need to just listen. This is a good practice, especially in negotiations and persuasion. I'm telling you, people will always tell you exactly what it takes to sell them if you just listen. I used to sell cars in Maryland, Chevys, and my customers would come in. And in my first month, I was the top salesperson coming in the door, and I had never sold cars before. But I had been an agent, and I had been a salesperson in furniture and other things. The thing is, the people come in looking for a car, and they would tell me what features and benefits they wanted in that particular vehicle, and that's what I used to sell them. If it was a woman coming in and she wanted a van, and she talks about her children and things like that, I sold her on safety. I sold her on the features of the van. It's kind of funny, but the most attractive feature in a car or van for women, we learned, is that they want to know how many cup holders were in the car. For men, they come in and they talk about speed and power. So we sell them a Corvette or we sell them a fast car, and I sell them on exactly what they told me they want to have. They'll tell you how to sell them. Just listen. And the last thing is relax. Even the most influential people lose. When that happens to you, don't take yourself so serious. Learn from your mistakes and move on. I often see in the forums I visit and Facebook and some of the other social media that a lot of people say they're afraid to try a negotiation. They're afraid to pick up that phone and make the phone call. They're afraid of rejection. Let me tell you this. I learned a long time ago, all a person can do to you is say no. So what's another no? You're going to get a lot of no's if you're going to be in the negotiation, persuasion, and sales business. So get used to that. Get a thick skin, hang up the phone, and then move on to the next one. I used to be a recruiter for a company called Robert Half Technology, and I recruited technology candidates, IT people, and I would probably get 100 no's a day. but all I needed was 3 or 4 yeses to make a lot of money, because each one of those 3 or 4 yeses equated to $30,000 to $40,000 for the company. So get out there, relax, and make it happen. Now, as I told you, I'm going to have some upcoming videos. I'm going to run a series on developing your persuasive power. Now, you're going to really want to come back and visit me and get this, because it will change the game for you. I mean, it will change everything you do, not only in your negotiations, not only in real estate, but in your life. I go to hotels and I use my negotiation techniques. I use it when I'm buying a car. And believe it or not, when I was dating, I used it to meet women. I used the same skills I was taught as an agent to meet women, and it will work almost every time. So subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for those videos. This is Derek Smith, once again, aka the Negotiating Professor, and I hope that you take something from this video. Thank you very much.